it was so kind of one-sided for me that the whole time. And I think if the game had actually been played at Wembley, I think you'd have seen a better Scottish performance. Because I think Bellingham said, when they booed the anthem and so on, it was like, oh, right, like that, is it? That, is it?
Well, it was very interesting seeing, like, obviously he rose to that. Declan Rice grinning from ear to ear as that was happening. It's like it's really brilliant to see England players who are this confident.
Yeah,
just in general.
Yeah, I totally agree. Speaking as an England fan who always fears the worst, right down to the fact that as soon as Bellingham set up Harry Kane, my thought went to him getting injured a month before the Euros. Seeing players on the field do exactly what Jim says, just stick their chest out a bit, play with a bit of confidence, play with a bit of swagger. Don't. That own goal from Harry Maguire, I think other teams, and there was certainly Scotland pressure after that. They just rode it. They just calmed it down.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that just took charge again.
That kind of is the thing for Bellingham. This game was built for him because not only is he a player who's almost too brilliant to put into words, certainly in an English context, but he's someone who relishes this sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
And you really saw that. He doesn't just like to be the best player on the pitch. He likes to own the occasion.
Oh, totally.
Imagine him at a roast.
He really did that.
Well, if he was James Maddison.
Bring his own knife.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that celebration as well, which is now his trademark celebration, it sums it up.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. We got
can we just fathom that for a second? I know we'll probably go on about it every time he does it, but it's now his trademark from when he started doing it as a match winner for Real Madrid.
I know.
Every time that we should say that every time we bring it up.
Real
It's
Madrid and
remarkable.
England's Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think really, if there's a take home from this, it's that Gareth Southgate has been copying Carlo Ancelotti's homework, hasn't he?
You'd hope so. On that celebration, we've got an email from Jack French who said Jude Bellingham shouting "Vamos" after scoring for England. This isn't the Brexit Luke Moore voted for. No, Luke's not here to defend himself, so ha ha ha. Quite frankly, no. But didn't Birmingham City retire one of the numbers?
They
Well,
did.
22.
Or was that not the
that
reason
was-
for that is has been massively overstated. Essentially, them selling him to Dortmund effectively saved the club, as I understand it, because they were in a pretty difficult financial strait. So that was the reasoning for that.
And also, it's the way he played it. Even though he was a kid, he could have walked for nothing, creamed off a load more money for himself. He signed his first professional contract there so they could sell him.
Yeah,
so people have sometimes willfully misunderstood that, I think.
Indeed, it's good to add the much needed colour to that. But the reason why I bring that up is because right from the off, Bellingham has been destined for the top of the game. And this is not a kind of, he's the new such and such, or new Zidane and so on. No, he's Jude Bellingham, for crying out loud. And he is, it's just so wonderful to see a player who was so highly rated right from the off is already going about fulfilling that potential.
But the thing is, this is almost
It's
impossible
phenomenal.
to do in any era of sport, really. If you think of Cristiano Ronaldo or LeBron James, to be rated since you're a young teenager, and then not only to meet that expectation, but absolutely fly past it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And the way
It never
The way he
happens.
speaks in the media as well.
He's ready for it, isn't he? He's ready to be a superstar.
Especially, or just on Andy's point, especially to do that in the middle of the park where you get so many knocks simply by playing the game, not necessarily people even trying to take you out, just by going about your business normally.
You're thinking about the injury again, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
But don't worry with it.
Maybe we should play him, if Real Madrid played him further forward and a little bit out to the left, so he was always offside.
Yeah.
I think
should be okay.
Sort of like 10 yards off the pitch, just to be on the safe side.
I mean,
Just-
really wears a lot of
but in
strapping.
a comfy chair as well.
I think this game...
Lumbar support.
I think this may be where Southgate's found the midfield that he perhaps would want to go with. Now, Southgate's been criticised for, handbrake on and all this kind of stuff. I would say to that, look at the amount of goals England's got. I mean, was the handbrake on against North Macedonia when England beat them? I actually think Southgate kind of not always gets it right, but more often than not knows when to kind of go, right, nice and calm, and let's let them have it. But this, you had Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. Now, Calvin Phillips, he hasn't played much football and blah, 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 blah. But he was good.
was fantastic.
He was great.
Really good.
So that does justify. Obviously, different with Maguire. We'll come on to that. We will. But Rice is a starter. One, very much in there. With England, you have the goalkeeper, Pickford or Ramsdale. Take your choice. It'd probably be Pickford. You've got your back four. Obvious who's the right back. John Stone's one of the centre halves. Another centre half, probably Gay, maybe, or someone. Again, a couple of options there. Left back, Shaw or Chilwell. Rice in front. Bellingham in that midfield, Kane and Saka, it'll probably be. It's those two positions. Now, I understand one position, who you pick in that midfield does change the dynamic, because if you pick Calvin Phillips or Phil Foden, it changes it. But this seems to be the chat now. We're honing in on England. Who do you play in there?
Well, a performance like this really helps Southgate because if he wants to, you'd say it's a fairly cautious lineup when you have Rice and Phillips in it. But if you can put Bellingham in front, all you have to do as a football coach is create the best possible situation for your best players to do their stuff.
Absolutely, Andy.
And that's exactly what's happening there.
People saying Phil Foden is generational talent. I get that. So is Jude Bellingham. You know, can you play them both in that midfield? I think people would like to see that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's horses for courses, right? Essentially.
Indeed, Jim. Indeed.
I think this is the lineup against a big team. If you go deep in a tournament and you've got a France or a Spain or whoever, that midfield is the one that you use because, you know, as you say, Jude Bellingham is not just such a sort of creative force. He's also dominant. He's a sort of.
When have we seen an English midfielder like him?
He's as much a sort of forward. Like a sort of deep forward defensive player as he is an attacking player because he's got so much to his game. So you've got so much dynamism and security in that midfield just by putting him there. But you're right. I mean, I've been thinking about this. Maybe in terms of all-round ability, the last one you're thinking of is Steven Gerrard, maybe. But even then, I think he's dominant is a word that applies more to Bellingham than Gerrard.
I mean, there was that chat on the pitch, wasn't there, between Gerrard and Bellingham? That sort of mutual appreciation society. And when Gerrard was standing there saying to him, "You're miles better than I was at the same age," he wasn't lick-spittling.
What is good with Bellingham and the way Southgate is a bit more conservative. I think fundamentally he's a bit more conservative. I think people are quite cartoonish in their description of him, as you touched on. But because he does have that conservatism, he's going to look at Jude Bellingham and think, "What are you good at? Everything. What do we need you to be really good at? This, do that."
Yeah.
And that's...
If you play Foden in the midfield with Bellingham, it inhibits...
It becomes a bit Harlem Globetrotters, doesn't it? Right, you do your thing on the ball, I'll do my thing on the ball.
Yeah, but it's like with Gerrard Lampard, you stick them all in. That's exactly what it does. I don't understand why people have this problem. You know, we're not Spain 2010.
I think they have the problem. I think they have the problem because of teams like Spain. And
because of a team like Spain. There's no team
sorry. Because of that specific team like Spain.
Yeah.
And
Argentina were playing Rodrigo de Paul.
Yeah.
Because they had to, because they needed someone to do the heavy...
Well, Enzo plays further forward when he...
There you go.
You know, he's allowed to be a runner from midfield.
World Cup, you know.
Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.